Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel, and we're going to go through AEW Dark for the 9th of June, 2020. Overall, not a bad program. Actually, sometimes I like Dark better than the Dynamite show, and certainly better than some of the WWE shows by far, because they do more to establish characters, even in squashes, than a lot of places do otherwise. And then there's other things in the Dark show, especially this week, that make me scratch my head really in wonder. So we open with Excalibur and Taz, which I love Taz. I think Taz should be part of the main broadcast team. I would get rid of Excalibur and put Taz, Shivani, and Ross together if I had my druthers with it. I think having a wrestler who has been at a national level, who has national credibility, would be better than having Excalibur in the role. And there's no reason you couldn't have Excalibur do something behind the scenes, or maybe he's an interviewer, or maybe he's a wraparound for like the internet show. He does hype videos, but I don't see him as a guy who should be on national television as an announcer right now. And I know that there are AEW fans that love him, but he's not for me. I don't mind him at the level of a individual at an independent level, but not for national television. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment if you're into what we do here. We open with SCU, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, the former tag team champions, against Low Rida and Fuego del Sol. I think this is a first for both of these folks. And, the announcers kind of put over that this is a get back on the horse kind of deal for the former tag champs. After losing to Havoc and Sabian, which I think was a horrible loss in that they just don't belong losing to those guys. I don't quite understand having your former tag team champions in a dark segment where there's really no reason behind the match. It just doesn't make sense to my brain. But then I'm also of the opinion that if somebody is a champion and they drop down the card, it should be gradual and not immediate. Like, to me, it makes no sense to have any champion in squash matches unless it's literally they're coming back from injury. And the story is, they're getting back on the horse as far as getting back into ring shape. Other than that, I don't think squash matches for champions or former champions are appropriate unless they've had a long layoff. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine. Nothing more, nothing less. Kazarian starts the match with Fuego, hits a leg sweep, and Sky tags in, and Fuego hits a standing shooting star press for a 1 count. Ryder hits a springboard drop kick. Scorpio hits a forearm strike, and the opposition runs into each other. Kazarian runs and hits a leg slice on Ryder off the ropes. They hit the SCU later on Fuego, and this guy picks up the pinfall. Again, when you look back at the beginning of Dynamite and you see a guy like Scorpio Sky who, was in the ring with Chris Jericho when he was champion, and now see them on Dark just kind of filling space, I don't support this. It doesn't make sense to my brain. Anyway, Dark Order spokesman presents the former Allen Angels with his Dark Order mask. I'm glad that he has a contract now, at least one would think so. He is presented as number 5. I don't get the whole numbers thing. Brody Lee welcomes him to the process of things. 5, otherwise known as Allen Angels, with 10, and Alex Reynolds and John Silver defeats Lee Johnson. Man, this Lee Johnson guy is getting a raw rap. He's a tremendous enhancement talent. I'd love to see him on the independents when they're up and running again, if he's not under contract, just to see what he can do in a match that is meant to target getting him over. But it is what it is. Match itself is a showcase for 5, which I guess after the reveal that he's now part of Dark Order, it should be. He starts aggressive, strikes before getting cut off with a drop kick. 5 sends Johnson into the ring post on the outside and then works over the left arm. Spine buster, kick out by Lee, and then clotheslines. Johnson hits a neck breaker, one-legged drop kick, and then there's a tope, blue thunder bomb for near fall by Lee. 5 comes back with a clothesline, and then 5 hits an apron DDT. Brody Lee comes out to ringside, and 5 hits Johnson with a backstabber for the pin. I mean, athletically, this match is good. I've mentioned in past weeks, I like Alan Angels, aka now known as 5, but I don't agree with the concept of having him have a match with an enhancement talent that goes this back and forth. And I think one of the biggest problems I have with AEW and wrestling in general in 2020 is the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Everybody has to get stuff in. What happened to one-sided matches? If you have, let's say, a 6-match card, having 2 one-sided matches that are quick actually differentiates the talent in those matches, and it makes it so that you really wonder, like, hey, when this guy actually faces competition, what will that be like? If every match is back and forth, if every match is even, you've set this up to where now it's like nothing special. Nothing means anything if you've got near falls in every match. Nothing means everything if everyone has cool moves to hit. Like, you have to make things look different. You know, it's like dating. If you date the exact same looking guy or girl for a year, and even though you're on a dating profile and you only date men that are blonde or women that are under 150 pounds, you're missing out on the cornucopia of what's out there, and you might find you like something else preferentially than what you normally go for. Wrestling is the same thing. If you do squash matches to the point where literally they're squashes, and the idea is, you know, I'm gonna beat somebody up for 4 straight minutes, but I'm gonna take 90% of the offense, it makes a guy or lady look like a monster, and I don't think that's done enough. Certainly at the national level, but even at the independent level, I don't think the value of one-sided matches is there enough, and so there's challenges. After the match, 10 hits a pump kick on Johnson while still wearing, I believe, an arm sling. So Santana and Ortiz versus Musa and Brady Pierce. Pierce looks like he's got something body-wise. I mean, it's interesting. Santana and Ortiz, part of the Inner Circle. I know people like them. I respect them because they're affiliated with Jericho, and Jericho has made me care about them. I'm not sure if they didn't have the Jericho affiliation, if I wouldn't see them as just another team. I'm really curious about if and when they break off from Jericho, how they fare on their own. It does have me curious. Ortiz hits Musa with a headbutt and a little bit of collegiate-style wrestling, standing switches and the like. Ortiz hits a lariat, and then Ortiz hits a sit-out powerbomb and a slingshot on Musa into a knee strike from Santana. Santana hits an Asai Musa to Pierce and Musa on the floor. Santana and Ortiz hit Musa with a double neck breaker. Santana taunts Pierce and demanded that he tag in. Tandem kicks there. Pierce misses a second rope moonsault. Musa jumped in, and Santana nails him with a cannonball in the corner. Santana and Ortiz hit the street sweeper, and pretty much simultaneously finish things from there. Anyway, so we move on to the next contest, which is the Butcher and the Blade defeating Anthony Katina versus and Pineapple Pete. So, I mean, I'm not. To be fair, I've never been a fan of the Butcher and the Blade. I don't get it. They are to me, a team that's straight out of like the late '80s, early '90s. Just brute bruisers who are there to do enhancement work, and they're like 2 levels above a Barry Horowitz. But somebody sees something in them, otherwise they wouldn't be there. Anyway, Anthony Katina is new to things here in AEW. Um, Taz is trying to uh, you know, get over here a little bit using some humor on good old Pineapple Pete. Butcher and Blade double up on Pete, and they hit strikes. Blade hits a Fisherman Buster. Katina tags in, gets hit with a stunner from Blade, and then a lariat from Butcher. Butcher hits Power Slam, and Pete makes a save here. Blade hits a splash in the corner. Butcher and Blade hit a full death on Katina, and then they go for the pin. QT Marshall with Allie and Dustin Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. Gee, he has a lot of friends. Defeating Zach Clayton. Let's see. So Allie is coming out in kind of some revealing clothing. Dustin and Brandy are out, and Allie joins commentary. She ignores her questions related to the alliance with Butcher and Blade. She says she's got QT working out 3 times a day. Isn't she worried about burnout? Anyway, Marshall gets tossed to the stage. Clayton went to work on him and hits a delayed vertical suplex. Clayton hits a knee drop for near fall. Marshall comes back with a high kick. Clayton then hits a power slam for near fall. Clayton tries to expose turnbuckle. Brandy jumps up, and basically tries to expose this. Brandy goes off the apron, selling her wrists. Marshall is more concerned about Allie, who says she broke a nail on the outside. Marshall hits a backbreaker flatliner combo for near fall. Clayton climbs the ropes. Allie grabs his foot, and Marshall then hits the QT cutter for the win. So Allie is helping QT and using underhanded tactics to do so. This means that either QT is going to turn, and I think that would be good. I think QT and Dustin could do something. QT to me has an upside. Or Allie's going to turn and go back with Butcher and Blade, which I think would be a waste of Allie. Allie's really shown a different level of personality here with this story. Let's see. Then we go into Christopher Daniels and Sonny Kiss. This is a great example of a veteran bringing the best out of a younger talent. Cool match. Daniels hits a scoop slam. Kiss hits a springboard arm drag, and then goes into an armbar. Daniels escapes, but then a third arm drag and back to the armbar. Kiss really showing some degree of, I guess, growing through the match, which I think is good. Daniels finds himself back in the armbar quite a few times during the match. Daniels hits an exploder suplex and starts to come back. Daniels using the ring and the buckles, and we actually see it back body drop. It's been a while since we've seen one of those. That gets a near fall for Daniels. Daniels goes for the Koji clutch. Kiss forces a Rope break. Daniels hits a series of kicks and stomps, and not to be outdone, Kiss fires back too. He hits a Rana. Kiss hits a slingshot leg drop into a standing moonsault for near fall. Daniels hits an STO, and Kiss pulls Daniels down into a cradle for a really cool near fall. It would have been even better with a crowd there. Kiss hits an enziguri, and they go back and forth before Kiss hits a hook kick. Daniels blocks a pump kick, hits the Angel's wings for the pin. So, I mean, in this case, see, this is how you do a match like this. Daniels is the veteran. He ends up winning, but there's enough there where it's like, wow, you know, Kiss is 6 months to a year away from being able to hang with just about anybody, and you can watch the evolution there that way. So Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus with Jungle Boy, no, defeating Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler with Leva Bates. I'm not a big fan of this just because Avalon and Cutler, if you're not going to pay off the loser's storyline soon, I think it will lose interest, and I think Luchasaurus is being wasted in a tag team with Marco Stunt. I think Luchasaurus has more that could be done with him, and the Marco Stunt thing, it's a one-trick pony. It doesn't really do anything for anybody in the long run. Anyway, Luchasaurus starts off with Avalon. Avalon tries to beg off. Cutler tags in, tries a springboard, but jumps right into a Luchasaurus chop. Luchasaurus hits a thrust kick for near fall. He then hits a wheelbarrow suplex on Cutler. Stunt in, hits a senton. Avalon tags in. Bates distracts Stunt, and Avalon and Cutler went to work on him. They control the match for a few minutes. Cutler uses a torture rack and covers for near fall. Cutler hits a press slam, but Stunt turns it into a Rana. Too many Huracan Ranas on this show for my taste. Anyway, Avalon tags in and hits gets hit with a tornado DDT from the much smaller Stunt. Luchasaurus gets a hot tag. Avalon eats a thrust kick. Cutler gets back in the ring. Luchasaurus hits a back fist, and Cutler and Avalon start fighting again for like the 5th time. Stunt hits a splash off of Lucha's shoulders. Avalon hits Luchasaurus with a swinging DDT for a 2 count. I found that unbelievable due to the size difference. Avalon hits a sunset bomb from the second rope for near fall. Cutler tags in, hits a splash. Cutler hits a series of knee strikes in the corner. Avalon tags in, uses a victory roll for near fall. Stunt hits his own version of a tail whip, and they hit a tandem choke slam on Avalon, and then ultimately Luchasaurus hits a standing moonsault for the ultimate pinfall. Brian Cage comes in, and he's at the commentary desk for the main event, and he stands behind the announcers as they call things. This is Moxley versus Robert Anthony in a non-title match. I don't know what they were thinking here. I don't think they were thinking here. Not a fan of this at all. They go about a dozen minutes. Robert Anthony is fine, but there is no way he should be doing an even remotely competitive match with a world champion on national television when no one knows who he is, no one cares who he is, and there's no payoff at the end. It's not like you're going to push him to get a championship match in a month. you've just killed your world champion in terms of credibility. If he goes a dozen minutes with a no name, then anyone with half a name should be able to beat him. Anybody with a big name should be able to do so in under 10 minutes. It just, I don't get where this seems like a good idea. Anyway, they go holds and takedowns, and Anthony gets tied up. Anthony escapes, tries a plancha. Moxley hits a suicide dive. Moxley hits some dragon screws and hits a suplex. Gets a 1 count. Again, why is the champion getting a 1 count on an enhancement talent? This is just stupid. Moxley uses a single leg crab, and then Moxley ties up his left leg. Moxley hits an X-plex. Moxley uses a figure 4 around the post. Anthony hit a suplex and used a Romero special. Again, why is a enhancement talent getting offense in the middle of a non-title match after taking several minutes of punishment? Anthony hits strikes in the corner. Moxley comes back with a lariat. Anthony takes a nasty-looking bump off of that. Anthony blocks a Gotch pile driver and hits a Death Valley driver for a near fall. Anthony is up. He misses a charge in the corner, blocks a paradigm shift, and then jumps off the top rope into a powerbomb for a near fall. Moxley hits a spine buster for another near fall. Moxley locks in a cloverleaf, and Anthony submits. Another thing, why is Jon Moxley not finishing people with his finish? This whole match, probably the worst thing I've seen in AEW in at least the last couple of months in terms of killing somebody off that doesn't need to be killed off, making the whole brand look weak. If your champion is so inept that he's going long matches with an enhancement talent, then why should anybody care about your brand? Overall, I don't know what anybody was thinking, but I don't think they were. In any event, I'd love your comments below. Please feel free to leave them, subscribe, comment, like, do all that stuff, and we'll be back with more great wrestling content momentarily.